I'm Adrian Peterson, and I played in the 2004 All-American game, and I declared to Oklahoma that day. Go Sooners, go Vikings.
Welcome inside the Alamo Dome as we get set for the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. What a day of football it is on NBC. The best high school players playing for the next 3 hours, and then Wild Card Weekend begins right here on NBC with the Bengals and the Texans, and an NFC North battle tonight, the Vikings and the Packers. But as for this game, it's going to be the very best against the best. Max Brown, the top-rated quarterback in the nation. In 10 days, he'll report to USC to begin his career as a Trojan. You can watch him play here this afternoon. Who is the #1 ranked running back in the country? That man right there, Derek Green, still undecided, leaning toward Michigan, but we do not know where he'll go. We know we can watch him play here this afternoon. Jalen Smith, the #1 outside linebacker in the country. Notre Dame playing for the national title Monday night. They will have Jalen Smith at outside backer next year. 6 players going to declare right here in the next 3 hours live. Going to tell you where they will play their college football. Mike Mitchell, is he going to stay in Texas and SEC Big 12 country, or might he wind up playing in the Big 10? The U.S. Army All-American Bowl is next. The U.S. Army All-American Bowl, an annual tradition of the nation's top-ranked high school football stars. It's helped to springboard the careers of many NFL greats, like Adrian Peterson and Andrew Luck. Now, a new class of America's best steps onto the field to showcase their talents in the spotlight.
I'm Derek Green, #1 running back in the nation.
Top-ranked linebacker.
All-time high school leading rusher.
Top-ranked quarterback in the nation.
They hail from all over the country and have come together to hone their skills and make their name a household one. Each one looking to turn their Friday playing days into Saturdays and declare their intent to the schools to which they've been heavily recruited. Today, from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio.
Today's my decision day.
I'll be making my college declaration.
Today's decision day.
I'll be making my college declaration.
I'm Timber Fuller.
My name is Joe Mathis.
I am DeMonte Thomas.
I'm Max Brown, U.S. Army All-American.
Today, I'm a U.S. Army All-American.
I'm a U.S. Army All-American.
And welcome inside the Alamo Dome here just outside of downtown San Antonio. And for the next 3 hours, for the 13th year in a row, we're going to watch the very best athletes, the most productive high school football players in the nation last year, play as high school athletes one final time before scattering and moving across campuses. You'll be watching them on Saturdays for the next 4 years. Pre-game preparations well underway right now. Players listening inside the locker room. Let's take a peek inside the west side.
Thanks, Coach. Really appreciate it. All right, look, you're about to go play here in a little while. Warm-ups, whatever you got to do to get ready to do this. Here's what I want you to think about. All right. The best is the West, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the West is going to win this year, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we're going to go out there, we're going to hit hard, we're going to play hard, we're going to put everything on the line. Today, you represent who? Yourself, your family, your school, and you're also representing the United States Army. And we play to win.
And we're really glad to be here. We're very proud of what you've done. You've earned the right to be here, and I hope you had some fun this week. Haven't you met some new friends, some great teammates, some exceptional coaches? I think you've learned some things this week that'll stick with you all your life. This is going to be great. But above all, we're going to have some fun today. And we're very proud to have you representing the United States Army.
And welcome inside the broadcast booth here inside the Alamo Dome. I'm Paul Burmeister. And to understand just exactly what we get to watch, the unique opportunity we have over the next 3 hours, we look ahead to the next couple days. First of all, Wild Card Weekend. Andrew Luck, Adrian Peterson going to be big stars. They got their start on the big stage right here on the field behind me in the Alamo Dome. Think about what you'll see Monday night in the BCS title game. Alabama's quarterback A.J. McCarron played in this game. Notre Dame running back Cierre Wood started right here. And today should be no different. The very best high school players in the nation, including 6 athletes rated #1 at their position. You can watch them compete for the final time as high school players here for the next 3 hours. Looking forward to the analysis during that time of Rod Woodson and also Anthony Herron. And guys, starting with you, Rod, what kind of opportunity do these athletes here have in front of them today?
Well, you know, talking to these guys the last couple of days, I think they understand that the commitment they make, what school they're going to go to, is not going to affect them for the next 4 years, but the next 40 years, or for the rest of their lives. What programs they're going to go to and play for, and how they're going to further their education. So I really like where their head's at. These are some great young men.
And then when you look at the small picture part of it, Rod, today on the field, all these guys competitors because no one forced them to come here to San Antonio to play in this game. But talking to the guys throughout the week, everyone to a man said they want to be here at the best game in the country playing against the best competition.
Now, Rod made it to the Hall of Fame playing cornerback, but he understands it is a quarterback-driven league, whether it's in college or in the National Football League. We're going to see the very best, the #1 rated quarterback here today, Max Brown, before he plays at USC.
Yeah, Max Brown, strong, 6'5", 205 pounds, can make all the throws on the football field. But what you really love about him is that he knows there's a couple quarterbacks sitting at USC already under scholarship. He still wants to go there because he believes in his abilities going down there in Southern California and compete with the best. He believes if he does that, he can find some playing time his freshman year.
So we know where the #1 ranked quarterback Max Brown is going. He's playing at USC, actually going to enroll there in about 10 days. We don't know where the top-rated running back is going to play his college football.
Derek Green being the #1 running back in the country, everyone waiting to hear where he's going to go to his school. And as a player, you referenced the game coming up after ours, Paul, the Houston Texans. He reminds me of Arian Foster, the national championship game Monday night. He reminds me of Eddie Lacy from Alabama, 6 foot, 220 pounds, a bowling ball in the backfield, but he's far more explosive, especially getting to watch him here in person than I would have expected. And so for him, as the #1 running back in the country, he could have committed to a number of different schools, but he said, you know what, my word is my bond, and when I make my choice, I want to stick with it.
See with some of the strengths of Derek Green right there. We'll take a listen now to what he's thinking for this game. He's joined right now live on the field by Marty Snyder.
Well, you guys mentioned the #1 running back in the country, and you and I were just talking about, as players walk through our shot, about the talent on the field today. What can folks at home expect from all this great talent?
They expect a lot. You know, it's definitely, top players in the nation. So everybody's trying to go hard, but everybody's, going to do a good job. And like I said, top players in the nation out here competing. It's just an honor to be out here with these guys. So.
We just heard the boys in the booth say your word is your bond. Once you give your commitment, you're going to stick. So what is the recruiting update for you at this moment?
I'm down to Michigan, Auburn, Tennessee, Florida State, and Miami. Michigan has a slight lead, but I still have 2 more officials I need to take, so I'm definitely going to take those. I'm trying to build my relationship with the Tennessee and the Auburn staff again, since they have a new staff, and that's where I'm at with everything.
I asked him if indeed he was the #1 running back in the nation. He said, no question. Now let's head over to Rivals.com's Mike Farrell.
Yeah, thanks, Marty. Derek Green, definitely the #1 running back in the country, in our opinion, and he could impact our national team rankings with that decision. Right now, it's Notre Dame, Alabama on top. USC threatening to take over. They were #1 for a while. But Derek Green could impact that Big Ten race. Michigan and Ohio State battling it out. Ohio State could leapfrog Michigan today with a couple commitments. So Derek Green would be a big linchpin for the Wolverines in that class. Lewis?
All right, Mike, thanks very much. I'm here with Mike Mitchell, linebacker from Prestonwood High School out of Plano, Texas. And so you're going to declare later, a big day for you, but what has this week been like here with the U.S. Army and all these new teammates?
Oh, man, it's been awesome, crazy. I mean, you got 90 of the best football players in America, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to play against all of them. So, I'm excited. I'm proud to be here. It's just been a great week.
Now, you're a big-time recruit, and I'm wondering, being out of the state of Texas, how much have these other guys been wearing you out to try and sign with a Texas school, even though you're not declaring right now?
Yeah, they try to persuade me. Ricky Seals-Jones, he's a big A&M commit. He's been talking to me about it. I'm from Texas. They want to keep me in the family,
All right, I know you want to get your helmet on and get out there on the field. And Mike Mitchell, guys, is one of 9, 3 brothers behind him. I'm sure he's inspiring them. Have a great game.
Thank you.
All right, Paul.
Lewis, thank you very much. And he's also one of 6 players today throughout the broadcast. Going to announce his plans, where he's going to go to school. We call it our declarations. Always a staple here, the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. There are your names. There's their positions. And we find out today the schools they will attend. All set to kick it off here inside the Alamo Dome. It's the East against the West for the 13th time in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. And back deep to receive, you saw number 10 there. That's Tre'Davious White from Shreveport, Louisiana, playing as a high school player one final time before he becomes an LSU Tiger. across the 40-yard line, all the way out to the 43 goes Tre'Davious White. Excellent way for the West team to start here. Take a look at the rules of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. 12-minute quarters. You cannot blitz on defense. In fact, you have to play a 4-3. And onside kicks allowed only in the fourth quarter by the losing team.
And as usual, Paul, in an all-star game, all these rules favoring the offense. But I guess right now, we'll do our best not to get too upset about it.
Well, we told you at the top of the broadcast, number 13 there, Max Brown, the #1 rated high school quarterback in the nation, the offensive player of the year, according to Gatorade, and he is also mic'd today. Get to listen to how he calls the game as well. And we're not going to see him throw a pass yet because he is sacked. Max Brown goes down, sacked by Kenny Bigelow. Will be his teammate next year at USC.
#1 defensive tackle in the country. I've had a great time throughout the week being around Kenny Bigelow, and he's a guy who's played some linebacker. He's played some defensive end in different high schools that he's been in throughout his career. But at 6'3", 295 pounds, he still moves like a linebacker in certain cases, as we saw right there.
You may ask why Max Brown is worthy of being the National Player of the Year. Well, led Skyline High School just outside of Seattle the last 2 Class 4A state titles. And huge numbers, 49 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. And just overshooting his intended receiver right there, Deshaun Smith, the tight end out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. He will also be an LSU Tiger next fall. Max Brown going to continue a trend we've seen with a lot of these big-name quarterbacks here recently, not going to wait to the fall to step onto campus. He's going to start at USC a week from Monday. And it'll be one of the big stories of spring football throughout the nation. Who's going to replace Matt Barkley? And he's going to be right there in the mix. He told us he expects to start next fall. First completion of the day goes to Stephen Mitchell out of Mission Hills, California. He'll also be a USC Trojan, and get used to hearing that today. 13 future Trojans going to play here today. The tackle made by Mackenzie Alexander out of Immokalee, Florida, and he is undecided with his college future.
Of course, in talking to Max Brown throughout the week, asking him, well, who's your favorite receiver? Who do you feel most comfortable with? And of course, he says, well, all the guys are great, but Stephen Mitchell is the guy who stood out to me.
Got to be politically correct if you're going to be a quarterback.
Yeah, future teammate, could be roommates, who knows?
Punt taken by the East squad. Number 24 is Mackenzie Alexander, the man who was on the coverage of the last Max Brown pass. And now we get our first peek at the East offense, and number 11 is Jeremy Johnson. And guys, interesting situation right now. He is committed to Auburn, but he is open to listening to Ole Miss. It sounded like kind of a he said Auburn is in the lead, but it sounds pretty even.
They're wavering. They played well this past year, also in a bowl game. So he's looking at it going, okay, what's the best fit for me? And I think kids should. I think they should take their time when making their commitment, because you would like to think all of them have a good word, and their word is their bond.
Go, get up in there.
And again, it's between Ole Miss and Auburn right now for Jeremy Johnson. For more on his recruiting, let's head down to Marty Snyder.
Yeah, and Paul, and he admitted to us yesterday, Auburn's still in the lead, but he has certainly opened Ole Miss, as you guys mentioned. So 1 week from today, he'll be on the Auburn campus. And then 2 weeks from today, he'll be on the Ole Miss campus. He'll make his decision after that. I asked him what will be the deciding factor. He said it will be a family decision. Mom and dad going to both trips.
He's also a tremendous basketball player as well. His high school team has won 33 consecutive games, and he averages 25 points per game. He has his sights set on being named Mr. Basketball as well as being named Mr. Football. Completion right there to Tyler Boyd out of Clairton, Pennsylvania. He is one of our 6 players who will announce his intentions, give his declaration throughout the broadcast. Tackle made by Chris Hawkins, and go ahead and guess, yes, he is going to USC as well.
I'm going to be right about half the time. But Jeremy Johnson, interesting story, not only just being a basketball player. School has a 33-game win streak going right now on the hoops court, but the quarterbacks in this game, we saw Max Brown a second ago, the shotgun formation, but different styles from the 2 QBs we've seen.
Jeremy Johnson to his left and firing down the middle of the field. Not an incompletion, but you saw the athleticism, you saw the arm strength as he just missed Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd told us that he's explosive, he's fast, he feels like he's the most explosive talent in this game. And so a weapon like that, they're going to try to use the arm strength of Jeremy Johnson to try to get athletes like Tyler Boyd downfield. Not bad there from Tahan Goodman on the coverage.
And Chris Hawkins was a DB chasing number 3, and what you love to see about with him is that he didn't panic. He kept going. He got into the face of the football, didn't allow that reception.
Johnny Townsend out of Orlando, Florida, going to punt for the Ohio State Buckeyes next fall, punting for the E squad. Nice job by the East special teams down right at the 5-yard line. Michigan Wolverines well represented here today at the U.S. Army All-American Bowl.
Chris Fox, offensive line.
Jake Butt, tight end.
Jordan Lewis, cornerback. I'm committed to the University of Michigan.
DeMonte Thomas, U.S. Army All-American, the best of the best.
Go Blue!
That's an M.
Yes.
That's an M.
Does that look like an M? Go Blue, baby!
The U.S. Army All-American Bowl is brought to you by the U.S. Army. There's strong, and then there's Army strong. And by American Family Insurance. Pursue your dreams, we'll protect them. Welcome back inside the Alamo Dome. What a day for football here on NBC. The very best high school players at the U.S. Army All-American Bowl right now. And a couple of wild card games, the Texans and the Bengals, and the Vikings and the Packers this evening. Both teams have had one possession, no first downs, couple of punts. West squad back on the field, and that is Max Brown, the quarterback, the National Player of the Year. And the running back, interesting story as well, Thomas Tyner, the fastest athlete in the history of Oregon State, the state of Oregon. And there he is, little chance to show that burst. 10.35 in the 100 meters, Rod.
That's pretty fast. I don't care if you're high school, if you're 25, if you're 30, that's fast. Once he gets in the open, it's one of those guys that normally people are not going to catch him.
And with that level of explosiveness and some versatility that he has as well, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. You know that Chip Kelly, if he continues to be the coach at Oregon, is going to be really excited about getting this athlete.
Speed just gets more speed.
And he said his decision not depended on Chip Kelly being there. He's going to stay with his commitment no matter who the head coach is. And there we see a little bit of the speed outside to the right, and he ran for an Oregon single-season state record this year, over 3,400 yards and also 45 touchdowns. And in one game, he had 643 and 10 touchdowns, to which Rod Woodson had to ask him a couple times in the meeting yesterday, you scored 10?
I said 10.
You scored 10?
10 touchdowns. I had to make sure because 10 touchdowns, not in the season, in one game. That's just crazy. All rushing.
In his career, over 6,700 yards and 76 touchdowns. He'll be an Oregon Duck next fall. Max Brown looking deep and just overshoots his intended receiver. Corey Robinson, a wide receiver from right here in San Antonio, the son of NBA Hall of Famer David Robinson. Corey will play at Notre Dame next fall. Number 89 was Ricky Seals-Jones, wide receiver on his way to Texas A&M.
Seals-Jones listed as an athlete, receiver, safety, played a lot of quarterback in high school as well. Big rangy target. The Johnny football's going to be thrown to him for a few years.
Back to punt for the West squad, Miles Bergner from Longmont, Colorado, going to punt in college at South Dakota. Mackenzie Alexander, nifty return there before he becomes an LSU Tiger. Tyler Boyd, who's he going to play for? Smile on his face because he knows he's going to let us know right after the break. Our first of 6 declarations here at the U.S. Army All-American Bowl on the other side of this break. Welcome back inside the Alamo Dome Live, the 13th annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl. And the East Squad going to begin inside of West Territory here. And for our first declaration, we head down to Marty Snyder.
And Paul, that will be Tyler Boyd, who nearly had the touchdown just moments ago. We have 3 hats here on the table for Tyler. West Virginia, Michigan State, Pitt. The one hat we do not see is Tennessee, who made a very late push for him. So Tyler, along with his mother here, Tanya Payne, who's it going to be, Tyler?
I think I'm going to go with the Pitt Panthers.
Going to go with the Pitt Panthers. And was this a decision to stay home or what?
Yes, sir. I'm just trying to help build my town, you know, bring more inspiration to it.
Paul Chryst needed some good news after losing Robert Frost a couple of weeks ago, a talented wide receiver. He gets another one today.
Marty, thank you very much. Pittsburgh playing right now in their bowl game against Ole Miss. And there's what Tyler Boyd is all about there. Going to go about 45 minutes away from his hometown and play in college for the Pitt Panthers.
And you heard Tyler Boyd reference Clairton, Pennsylvania. That's his hometown. And his football team, they've actually got the longest winning streak in the nation. 63 games going. And it's a community that's had an economy that struggled in recent years. And he's from a school in that small town where they considered shutting down the school at some point. But because of the success of that football program and the way the community's rallied around them, they've been able to keep that school open.
At quarterback now for the East Squad, Jonathan McCrary, Vanderbilt's first commitment for the class of 2013, his first appearance here today. At running back is Greg Bryant. He'll be running next fall at Notre Dame. Let's check in with the national recruiting analyst for Rivals.com, Mike Farrell.
Yeah, this is a great get for Pitt. I love this kid. As Anthony mentioned, he's undefeated as a starter. He's never lost a high school football game. He's got a lot of speed. He's very sudden. And this is a kid that has a lot of versatility. He can play quarterback, he can play running back, he can play wide receiver, safety, all at the high school level. But the biggest thing about him, I think this is really a message to Pitt kids in Western Pennsylvania that they need to stay home. And he's trying to send that message.
Jonathan McCrary handing off to Derrick Henry before he runs for Alabama. And if you're with us at the top of the broadcast, you found out that this is the all-time leading rusher in the history of high school football with over 12,000 yards, breaking a record that was 59 years old.
Started on varsity as a freshman, and apparently, according to Mike Farrell talking to him throughout the week, he was pretty much this size back then. He's a guy who physically matured very early in his life, and at 6'3", 240 pounds, still Rod consistently clocks in at the 4.4 speed.
One of the biggest running backs in high school I've ever seen walk in a room. I was intimidated.
Right.
Played 47 high school games at Yulee High School in Florida, was over 100 yards in every single one. In fact, he averaged 250 yards per game. Jonathan McCrary on the play action. And the pass intended for Matt Burke, good tight end out of West Palm Beach, who remains uncommitted with his college plans.
And Matt Burke's been recruited. He's got a couple of scholarship offers. One of those schools being, you know, university that we've called a few times, Boise State. They've been on the map for Matt Burke for quite some time. And to me, at this point, if Boise State is a school who's after you, you give them a serious look because they've established themselves as a premier program.
Jonathan McCrary, the quarterback out of Cedar Grove High School in Ellenwood, Georgia. That's an inside give, and putting his head down is Derek Green. That is the #1 tailback in the nation, according to Rivals.com. Likes Michigan a lot, but still has not declared where he will play.
And how amazing a story is Derek Green. You think about just a few years ago, actually weighed over 260 pounds. I mean, it's ridiculous when you think about it. He's been able to lose weight over the last few years. Wakes up at 6 a.m., runs 5 miles, lift weights, and then he's got a personal trainer he works with, position drills. I mean, this guy is dedicated, and to be able to max out your physical potential, and the game continues to change, doesn't it, Rod, from when we were playing, where now as a youth, you still have to really treat yourself as a big-time athlete.
Yeah, when he said he lost 40 pounds, that showed me a guy that was dedicated to what he wanted to be. He wanted to go to college, he wanted to be a big-time player, and he is.
Jonathan McCrary keeping it himself. That's a big hit from Antonio Allen out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and he will be a Hoosier next fall.
And we're going to even digress for just a moment, Rod, where, you know, you're a couple of years older than me, but the way that recruiting has changed over the years, where we got so many kids now who are committing early, where the process has really moved forward, I guess, in a way. How different is it from when you came out?
Well, I mean, I think the programs are so much bigger. The game has broadened so much is put into the different facilities, the different universities. So I think it definitely has changed in that, but I don't think it's changed in the concept that the players are taking of who they're going to play for, what program they're going to play for. Because it's not the next 4 years, like I said earlier, it's the next 40 years. It's the rest of your life. How you're going to get your education, what program you're going to play for. That's going to influence you, and that's going to mold you as a human being.
For the next 4 years, you can watch number 1 right there play for Notre Dame. Greg Bryant, according to Rivals, the number 2 running back in the nation. Initially committed to Oklahoma during a visit to Norman on their spring day, on their junior day in March last year. Reopened that process in the summer and says now he will play at Notre Dame.
Pat Bunyan's back at tailback. Oh, I mean, Derrick Henry is back at tailback now.
Jonathan McCrary flushed out a little bit to the right, touch pass into the end zone. And we see a late penalty flag. The pass was intended for Shelton Gibson out of Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Still deciding or still thinking about where he's going to play his college football.
They said that was pass interference, but I just don't see, not unless it's on the offense.
Kind of a blatant push there.
Pass interference on the defense occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed on the 2, first down.
That's why I'm not a ref. Because I look like the offensive player pushed, but it's a offensive-driven game anymore. I can't say league, but it's the same thing in the National Football League.
It looked like he pushed Antonio Allen. Apparently didn't look that way in the field. And the East squad has first and goal from the 2-yard line. Jonathan McCrary with the inside give, and inside the end zone goes Derrick Henry. More rushing yards than any other running back in the history of high school football, and the first touchdown of the afternoon.
And I think that's what you get when you see a big physical back. Once he made contact, his legs never stopped. They just kept driving and driving, and that's what's going to make him special in the college level, because he understands one thing: when you make contact, get your pads low, keep driving your legs, and get the yards after contact.
Jim Cooper on to attempt the extra point. Jim will kick at Temple coming up in the fall. Kick is up and in, and the East squad leads 7-0. Derrick Henry named Mr. Football in the state of Florida after running for a state record 4,261 yards and 55 touchdowns. He now has 56 touchdowns this season, if you go ahead and count that. The initial touchdown of the 13th annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl, and 5 more declarations here inside the Alamo Dome. Stay with us for the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Army Player of the Year award, Max Brown and Kendall Fuller made a trip to Washington, D.C., where visits to the Pentagon and the United Soldier made a lasting impact. Max Brown and Kendall Fuller, the 2013 U.S. Army Players of the Year, met some extraordinary soldiers. They learned firsthand how players and soldiers can be Army strong.
You know, talking to them, they told us you're going to go through a lot of adversity, but, you know, you got to have a strong mind. Just got to go out there with the willing to fight.
Just kind of how they approach the game and just the mindset they take, that, I mean, it's only making you stronger, and I think that makes me better as a football player and as a better person.
And Kendall Fuller, the #1 cornerback in this high school class, on his way to Virginia Tech. And playing football at Virginia Tech is kind of a way of life in that Fuller family.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 3 brothers who've also played football. And the interesting thing in talking to Kendall Fuller was that he said his brothers really didn't try to influence him too much. They didn't try to push him in any particular direction, even though he's got all that experience right in his household.
And I'm a little surprised at that, because I know if I had a younger brother and I went to a university, I'm going to try to persuade him to go with me and be in the same bloodline.
Tre'Davious White down the right side. Nice return by Tre'Davious White on his way to LSU. Let's check in with Marty Snyder.
Well, Paul, Derrick Henry scoring that last touchdown for the East, and it seems like you guys are kind of running the same play on different sides. Is that correct? Take us through the play on the scoring the touchdown.
Well, yeah, coach called 15 same. That's when I'm on the right side.
There it is right there.
And I counter back to the right and hit the 15 hole on the left. And my offensive line did a great job. You know what I'm saying? Receivers blocked real well, and I got it up in there.
All right, let's watch this play. Show us again what you were talking about. You're countering one way and going the other?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Countering one way, going the other.
There you go.
Hitting the hole tight, being physical and just pushing through my old lineman.
You're pushing a lot of guys right there, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You told me you had something to prove in this game. How relieving is that touchdown for you?
It's very relieving, but I'm still going to be hungry. We still got a lot of game to play, and I'm ready to go back in.
All right, thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hey, Paul, he told me he had something to prove here because everybody says in college he needs to switch positions. He said, that makes me mad. I don't want to switch positions, and I know Mr. Herron has an opinion about that as well.
First of all, this is Hayden Reddick, quarterback out of Los Angeles, who play at LSU with a completion to John D'Arce, who will also play at LSU.
Marty was referencing some of the discussions we've had during the week and talking to Mike Farrell and looking at the recruiting rankings of Derrick Henry. People project him as an athlete, but he really has never played any other position than running back, and he is determined to prove once he gets down to Tuscaloosa that he can stay at that spot. But at that size, coming out of high school, you would imagine he's going to continue to grow.
Alti Tenpenny lowering his head and going just across the 30-yard line, and he has something in common with his quarterback Hayden Reddick. They each lost their junior seasons to injury. Tenpenny broke his ankle the first game of his junior year, had to sit out and wait till his senior year to play, while the quarterback Hayden Reddick in the second game of his junior season tore his ACL. Still, these players were so good their sophomore season, so good at summer camps. They both warranted big-time scholarship offers, and Hayden Reddick will play at LSU. Alti Tenpenny right now committed to play at Alabama, though you wonder, he's from North Little Rock, Arkansas, if he's thinking about playing for the Razorbacks with Brett Bielema coming in and his commitment to the running game. That's Tenpenny out of the backfield. Catches it from Hayden Reddick.
As simple as that play looks, it's a skill set that you love a young man being able to show. I mean, it's just a quick flare route where he comes out of the backfield at 6 foot, 213 pounds. You see the thighs, you know, kind of in that Barry Sanders mold, where the thighs are really telling you that he's going to continue to become an even more explosive runner on contact.
Yeah, you want to see these young backs be good receivers out of the backfield. We know they can run the football, but if they can be receivers out of the backfield going to the college level, that can add something to who they are as a player.
First timeout called by the West Side. That's Hayden Reddick, a quarterback out of Cathedral High School right there in Pasadena. Said he grew up about a mile or two away from the Rose Bowl, but he is going to go play in SEC country and be an LSU Tiger. That's the man with the one touchdown today, Derrick Henry, the all-time leading rusher in high school history, flinging that touchdown ball into the stands. Back inside the Alamo Dome after this. For the 13th time, we're playing the U.S. Army All-American Bowl right here in San Antonio. Started at the end of 2000 and what a resume of success. Players moving on to college and NFL success like Andrew Luck, Mark Sanchez, and Tim Tebow. 5 have gone on to become Rookies of the Year like Adrian Peterson, this year's leading rusher in the NFL. And in fact, 17 gone from here to college to 17, or to win Super Bowl. 17 players have done that. Quarterback right now for the West team is Hayden Reddick out of Pasadena. And later this month, going to begin his college career at LSU. We see so many players, especially the top-ranked quarterbacks, graduating early from high school to go to campus and get ready for winter conditioning and be a part of spring football.
It's a Bayou Bengals offense that's starting to become more quarterback dependent. As great as LSU's defenses have been in recent years, their offense has struggled to kind of keep up at that same pace. So you know that Hayden Reddick is hoping he can go there. He may not compete with Zach Mettenberger immediately, but to go there and continue to help them expand their passing game.
Said he wants to throw 60 times a game. I said, you might be going to the wrong place for 60. 30 might be good.
Yeah.
Fires it here on 3rd down and 3 and puts it right where he wants to. And turning that ball upfield, Stephen Mitchell from Mission Hills, California, one of 13 players in this game who will play at USC.
And when you get to third down, they've got to go cover zero in this game, and so it allows the defensive backs to show off their Rod Woodson game. Can you go man-to-man? Can you lock up on a receiver and shut him down?
With no help.
With no help, nothing over the top.
Whoever made the rules to never play DB. I can tell you that right now.
And the DB making that tackle, it's Trey Matthews out of Noonan, Georgia, and he will be a Georgia Bulldog next fall. So Hayden Reddick, his junior season, threw for over 500 yards and got off to a great start the second game. After that 500-yard outing, had nearly 300 before tearing that ACL and spending the rest of that season rehabbing. Said he learned a lot watching from the sideline, began to start thinking like a coach and watching the game from a different angle. Used that season for a positive and came back and had another strong season this past year. UCLA still looking to land him, but he said he is committed to playing at LSU. Right there, overshooting his intended receiver, Jake Oliver out of Dallas, will play his college football at Texas.
I was talking to Mike Jenks, the head coach for the West, before the game, and he's talking about the skill set of each of these quarterbacks, and all the guys from the West have come from spread offenses in high school, not used to being under center. They're used to having the shotgun snap given to them from a center, and so he didn't want to put too much pressure on them in a 5-day span to try to learn how to get under center, and that's where we see Hayden Reddick more comfortable back in this shotgun position.
And that's a story we talked about leading up to the draft every year too. So many college quarterbacks not used to getting underneath the center, so much of a shotgun flavor in high school and college football now. Reddick right there missing. Derek Griffin, a 6'7" wide receiver who will play his college football at Texas A&M. And anybody who watched the Cotton Bowl last night, watched Johnny football play all season, not hard to understand why a receiver would want to play in that system.
Multiple receivers in this game going to Aggie territory, wanting to play with Johnny football.
Probably the most exciting college player today. I would pay money to go see him play because he just makes things happen. He's very electric on the offensive side, and he gets everybody involved.
Miles Bergner back to punt for the West squad. DeMarcus Robinson out of Fort Valley, Georgia, and he will play his college football in Gainesville and be a Gator. For the latest news leading up to National Signing Day, be sure to check out Rivals.com and get the inside scoop from the top recruiting analysts for only $9.99 a month. Go to Rivals.com to learn more. Here's some of the players who are uncommitted. Coming into this game, we see Derek Green, the #1 ranked running back, and Laramie Tunsil, the top offensive tackle, I know has impressed you too, Anthony.
Been extremely impressive, big number 77. He got sick for a couple of days in practice this week, so had to miss a little bit of time, but he's been back on the field today. #1 offensive lineman in the country. You see him there up at the second level right now, pushing on linebackers. He's a great combination at 6'6", 295 pounds. He's that height, speed, size, and aggressive ratio you look for at an offensive tackle. I think better than anyone we had on the field last year, even though DJ Humphries went to Florida and became the SEC all freshman pick from the SEC.
Tailback Darren Green and number 16 Ryan Burns out of Ashburn, Virginia, taking the unlikely road from Ashburn to Palo Alto, California. Played one game as a freshman. Only one game. We'll get into his story, an interesting story, when we come back, and the declarations continue. They do so on the defensive line with JoJo Mathis right after this.
I'm Joe Mathis, defensive end, Upland High School. Stay tuned because I'll be making my college declaration live on NBC Sports.
Garrett Sickles, defensive end. I'm committed to Penn State.
Sewell Cravens, free safety. I'm committed to the University of Southern California.
Thomas Steiner, running back. I'm committed to the University of Oregon.
Scott Pagano, D and D tackle. I am committed to Clemson University.
Austin Golson, offensive tackle, committed to Florida State.
Ryan Burns, quarterback. I'm committed to Stanford.
Our second in-game declaration moments away from that man, JoJo Mathis of Upland High School in California. For more, here's Lewis Johnson.
All right, Paul, thanks very much. Ready for this big declaration now. This is JoJo Mathis. He's considered the meanest and toughest defensive lineman in this class so far this year. He's flanked here by his mom, dad, got an uncle, his coach from Upland High School in California. And JoJo, we've got 4 hats here ready for you to just tell us where you're going to play. So we've got Alabama, USC, UCLA, and Washington. And so, JoJo, where are you going to play your college football this season?
First of all, I'd like to thank all the colleges for recruiting me. It's an amazing process. I'd like to thank the Army All-American. But I'll be going for the next 4 years to University of Washington.
So you're going to be a Husky, and by the sound here in the building, that's a surprise. Why Washington?
There's family there. I get along with all the players, all along with the coaches. That's all.
All right, well, good luck there and congratulations, and good luck the rest of the game. Mike Farrell, what do you think about this pick?
I think it's a great pickup for Washington, and I'm going to mention a name that I seem to mention every year, and that's Tosh Lupoy, the defensive line coach at Washington. You remember last year we had all of these Cal commitments. After that, Tosh Lupoy decided to take his talents up to Washington, and since then it's been a recruiting bonanza for them. They're in the top 10 in national recruiting right now. Steve Sarkisian building something very good. JoJo Mathis could play linebacker or defensive end in that system.
And JoJo telling us yesterday he was very much looking forward to going to Washington. Excited for the chance to become the first college graduate in his family. Said he liked playing in the rainy weather here in San Antonio. I said that's very good, because up in Seattle you might see a little more of that.
And that's what you have to love about athletics, not just football, but sports in general. In the college level, you can let a kid go from nowhere, get a degree, and be the first one in his family to do that.
Nice tackle there by Tahan Goodman, defensive back out of Rancho Cucamonga High School in California, remains uncommitted.
JoJo Mathis is a guy that, even though he's only 255 pounds right now, but watching him on film, you see a willingness to hit blocks in the run game. He penetrates into the backfield, plays with great leverage and pad level. We heard Mike Farrell talking about the versatility to maybe even be a rush backer from the outside. So there's going to be a lot of different ways that the Huskies can use him.
Just made his decision for Washington.
Fourth down and 8 now for the East squad. Again, the East team leading right now 7-0. Touchdown from Derrick Henry in the first quarter. Back to punt is Johnny Townsend from Boone High School in Orlando. To make that trip from Orlando to Columbus during the fall to play for Ohio State. That ball may have been tipped. And returning it for the East squad, Stephen Mitchell, wide receiver who will play at USC. Taking a look there, JoJo Mathis just told us a moment ago that he's going to play his college football at the University of Washington. And look now with some of the best defensive players who have played here. And Ndamukong Suh, what a force he is. And Chris Long developed into just a sturdy and strong defensive lineman for the St. Louis Rams. Texans going to play right here on NBC, coming up against the Bengals. A wild card weekend. A couple of best young defensive backs in the National Football League right there. And Eric Berry and Patrick Peterson. Good to see Eric Berry back and healthy this year after an ACL injury cost him 2011.
There's so many great players who've been on this field over the years. Guys like Percy Harvin, Deshaun Jackson. We've seen some of the explosiveness that he's always displayed at the college and at the NFL level. Even DeMarco Murray. Really didn't even realize he had played in this game until recently, but guys of all different shapes, sizes from all areas of the country come here to San Antonio to be a part of this week.
Inside the Alamo Dome, leading the West squad continues to be Hayden Reddick. Threw for over 3,400 yards and 40 touchdowns to 18 interceptions at Cathedral High School right there in Pasadena. In Los Angeles, and later this month going to make the trip from Pasadena to Baton Rouge, begin his college career at LSU.
Some folks might say Baton Rouge.
And that's Justin Davis, an impressive run for the future USC Trojan. That'll be first down, West squad inside of East Territory.
You got to be impressed with the class that the Trojans have been able to continue putting together, because so many expectations were heaped on Lane Kiffin, that staff, that program. Finally, after getting over some of the sanctions, they were bowl eligible. People thought we would be watching USC in the BCS title game come Monday night, and they end up going 7-6, having a bit of a disappointing season, but still top 5 throughout the recruiting season.
Justin Davis again off the left side. And brought down by Johnny O'Neill, a linebacker out of Dublin, Georgia, who will play as a Georgia Bulldog in his college career.
And I think what makes Justin so special is that he can do both. He can run in between the tackles, and we just saw right there, we bounce out to the left side, and he can run outside the tackle. It's very rare that you can find a guy that can do both and do them very well.
Especially for young football players, where for a young running back, you really want to be able to press the hole first, kind of get out of the high school mentality where you can just beat everyone to the outside with speed.
Hayden Reddick coming back to the left side, looking for one of those tall receivers on his way to play at College Station for the Aggies. Number 89, Ricky Seals-Jones at 6'5", 230.
At 6'5", 230 pounds, Ricky Seals-Jones. And it mentioned earlier the versatility that he had at his high school program, where they put him at quarterback, they put him at wide receiver.
Played safety.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a little bit of everything at that size as well. For a guy at 6'5", 230, to have that level of athleticism is extremely impressive.
Third down, Reddick. Pretty looking pass, but just overshooting his intended receiver. Number 80 is Derek Griffin, who will also play at Texas A&M.
And we know that Corey Robinson knows a little bit about and ones. I think this was an opportunity for an and one. He got held at the line of scrimmage, was able to work off, kept that physicality going, tried to beat the defensive back downfield.
And I think what makes Corey Robinson so special is that he's so appreciative. All the kids are, but he's so appreciative. Knowing what his dad went through, dad put a lot of pressure on him to play basketball, follow after him, let him do his own thing, and he become one of the better wide receivers in the country, going to Notre Dame. And as you said earlier, the rich keep getting richer.
Returning for the East squad, Demarcus Robinson, before he plays at Florida. Well, the Robinson family, a big story here inside the Alamo Dome. There is basketball Hall of Famer and also proud dad here today watching Corey Robinson, the wide receiver who will play for the Fighting Irish next fall. There are 7 players that are here this week on their way to South Bend.
Jalen Smith, outside linebacker.
Greg Bryant, running back.
Joe Montos, offensive guard.
Doug Randolph, outside linebacker, committed to the University of Notre Dame.
Corey Robinson, wide receiver.
My name is Torrey Hunter Jr. Today, I'm a U.S. Army All-American, the best of the best.
Look at my head. It's my shoes. Oh, you smiling? Come on.
I'm extremely excited to go to Notre Dame. Academics was paramount in my decision. My family's really into go get a degree because no one can take that away from you. When I was making my decision, I wanted to make sure that everything felt right and that this is the place that I felt like God really called me to go to. The coaching staff's incredible. The other players are really cool too, and the whole atmosphere has this tradition thing to it that I just loved. It made me inspired. The recruits that they bring in are just like me, and where they're focused and they want to succeed in the classroom as well. Having a professional as a dad really helps you out.
Even though he wasn't even on the radar screen, so being able to compare himself with some of these guys, he's a little nervous, but he's having fun.
He knows, the ins and outs, and he knows like the realities of playing professional sports, how to conduct yourself on and off the field in an honorable way, and then from an athletic perspective, how to compete.
It's just fun watching him grow up. He's very confident out there. He looks like he's having fun. As a dad, you just hope he goes out and does what he can do.
Corey Robinson said he just wanted to be a student at Notre Dame or perhaps one of the Ivy League schools. The Irish, the very first team to offer him a scholarship, and chance to be a student athlete instead of just a student was a bonus to him and his very proud dad, the Hall of Famer David Robinson, standing by with Lewis Johnson.
All right, Paul, thanks very much. With the Admiral, the 2-time NBA champion. And first of all, David, how surreal is it for you to be watching your son in this All-Star game in the very space that you won your first title in 1999?
Yeah, it's crazy. This arena's meant a lot to me personally. And I remember we had about 40,000 people in here celebrating the championship. And now to watch him, really, this is his first chance on the national stage. very exciting for me.
Now, you told me that he was a soccer guy and loved other sports, but everyone following in the footsteps of great fathers is expected to maybe play the same sport. So how did he evolve from soccer to basketball and into football?
Well, in high school, I told him, you had to stop playing the tennis and the soccer. At 6'5", you got to figure out it's either going to be basketball or football. And he's just a natural football guy, big hands, and he loves to compete. So this fit him better than basketball.
And then you told me that he has really admired your service to Navy and that you guys went to South Bend to watch a Navy football game, but then something happened. What was that?
Well, the last 3 years, that's all we could talk about was going to Naval Academy. And once football started, we saw Notre Dame. He just saw everything that Notre Dame really stood for, loved the campus, loved the people. And, from a spiritual, from a football, from a academic standpoint, I don't know that I could pick a better place for him. So he's very excited.
And then as he leaves to go up there, how hard will it be to let him go and maybe not follow him and maybe make a few trips up there back and forth? How do you handle that as a dad? I mean, I'm in the same position this year.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to let him go a little bit, but well, the good thing is he wants me there most of the time, so that's fun. And as a dad, when they're asking you questions and they want your opinion, they want you to be there, that's fantastic. But this is his time to really grow up and do his thing. So I'll try to leave him alone as much as I can. But I'm definitely going to be a part of that Notre Dame football thing. Get up there as much as I can, watch him play.
All right, we'll all be watching them on TV. David, congratulations to you and the Robinson family, and good luck to you and Corey.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Paul? David, Lewis, thank you very much. And the Robinson family, the father, the Hall of Famer, what a career he had. I mean, so much fun to watch, so much grace and production here. And a lot of class, too, playing for the San Antonio Spurs. And now going to watch his son Corey play in South Bend, play wide receiver for the Irish. One of 6 players playing here today. Going to play for Notre Dame. Actually 7 players, but Torrey Hunter broke his leg during the week. And it was interesting that Corey told us during the week. We'll take a listen here to why the flag is on the field.
Infraction on the offense, 5 yards, 3rd down.
Corey told us during the week it meant a lot for him to have his dad nearby, and at the practices we saw him on the sidelines watching practice. Meaningful to him to have his dad see him compete at this level. Not only to dominate on Friday nights in high school, which all these players did, but to play against the best of the best. He said that he really felt that. Having dad watch that meant a lot to him.
It was really cool to see it. As many big events as David Robinson has been involved in around the world, but he was as giddy as any parent here, snapping photos, watching, interacting with people. But when you project the athlete, Corey Robinson, we got to remember the story. David Robinson showing up at the Naval Academy at about 6'7", and then a year later he was 7'2". So you see Corey Robinson as a guy who's going to continue to mature physically.
Jeremy Johnson, pretty touch pass to number 17, James Quick, out of Louisville, and we'll see his, or we'll take a listen to his college declaration a little bit later today.
The accuracy it takes where you're rolling right, you reset your feet, you love to see the mechanics like that from a quarterback, and the confidence to deliver the football downfield to a wide receiver. And James Quick, we talked to him yesterday, right? He lives up to that surname. He's got speed to burn.
Outstanding player, can create separation from the DB, and when you know they got to play zero coverage on 3rd down, that's an advantage, goes to the offense.
Where's number 17 for a reason? His favorite NFL wide receiver, Mike Wallace, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Back to the ground game, and looking good there is Derek Green, the #1 ranked running back in the nation by Rivals.com. Maybe leaning towards Michigan, but not ready to say where he's going to school yet.
And he looks like a Michigan back. I mean, if you watch him run, he looks like a Wolverine. Just one of those guys that can play in between the tackles. They can maul you, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of guy. He fits right in up there in Ann Arbor.
He went old school to tell us about his favorite running backs, Eddie George, and going even further back to Herschel Walker and also Bo Jackson. And he's finding success here on this drive. Big tackle there for the West Side made by Mike Mitchell. And again, he'll tell us where he's playing college football a little bit later in the broadcast. We're going to check in now, first of all, and take a listen to why there's a penalty marker on the 40-yard line.
Unnecessary roughness on the offense, 15-yard penalty, it'll be 1st down.
David Robinson, Corey Robinson. It must be interesting for a father, Rod, who was a Hall of Famer at one sport, and you go through this. You have, is it 5 kids, Rod?
5 kids.
5 children. Okay, so Hall of Famer in football. I know you had a daughter who played some college basketball. You have kids who play other sports. What kind of advice do you give to your kids as a Hall of Famer in one sport while you watch them compete in a different sport?
Be committed. You know, be committed, and if you really love to do it, do it. I mean, that's really, at the end of the day, I think you have more satisfaction of watching your kids perform and do well than in your past career. It's good to see David Robinson love to watch his son succeed, because that's what we all want our kids to do, succeed. And David Robinson and myself are no different.
Now, he smiles a lot watching his kid. Are you more nervous as a dad than you were as a player?
No, I'm more relaxed as I got a little older.
Jeremy Johnson committed to Auburn right now. He had a moment, but that pocket collapsing on him, and down he goes at the 26-yard line. Number 31, JoJo Mathis, told us a little bit earlier he's going to play at Washington. Jalen Smith going to be playing for Notre Dame next fall. He was in on that as well.
It's interesting that the West defense showed a little bit of an odd front, and it's because they have the types of playmakers and the types of versatility. And Mike Farrell was talking about it earlier. JoJo Mathis, a guy who can play multiple positions. And you talked about Jalen Smith earlier, Rod, headed to Notre Dame, outside linebacker, but he can rush the passer. He can also drop into coverage.
You can find those athletes that have that rare ability. You want them in your program.
And to the run game, that is Greg Bryant, the number 2 running back in the nation, according to Rivals.com, and he'll play for Notre Dame. The quarterback right now, Jeremy Johnson, and an interesting scenario for him in the sense that he committed to Auburn when Gene Chizik was still the head coach. And so many recruits who commit early face this. And Gene Chizik was fired after a couple of disappointing seasons. So you wonder, and I know Jeremy wondered as well, do I still want to go there? The coaching staff I committed to, not going to be there. Well, it just so happens that Gus Malzahn is the new head coach at Auburn. Well, he was the offensive coordinator for Gene Chizik, and he was the one who actually called to offer Jeremy a scholarship at Auburn back his sophomore season. So that level of comfort said, led him to say, Auburn is still number 1. Showing you the speed there, getting out to the right side. But Jeremy still thinking about going to Ole Miss.
And he's got an opportunity as a 2-sport star at the high school level where the Mr. Football vote in the state of Alabama still hasn't taken place yet, but he may win Mr. Football. And then also, he's one of the top basketball players in the state of Alabama as well, so he's going to be up for Mr. Basketball in the state of Alabama. But the interesting thing with Johnson is that he grew up an Alabama fan. He grew up with Roll Tide and everything, but his family now that he's considering Auburn very strongly, his family's kind of, looking at him funny. He was still joking with us about yesterday.
They said that they'll cheer for him if he goes to Auburn, but not the team. And that's how families are. I mean, college football is regional. Anytime you're an Alabama group, you're not going to go to another team just because your kid went there.
Inside the Alamo Dome, and David Robinson, a lot of success as a San Antonio Spur, and a lot of enjoyment watching his Notre Dame-bound wide receiver son, Corey, play here today. Cadet Rockne Belmonte, a star kicker at Northern Michigan University and an ROTC cadet, understands the importance of leadership both on and off the field.
U.S. Army All-American coach Tim Takel and newly commissioned star kicker 2nd Lieutenant Rocky Belmonte talked about football, leadership, and Army strength.
With football and Army being together, both, it demanded a lot out of you physically, even more mentally. It's made me grow and be able to just handle myself with a little more composure and able to adjust and overcome adversity.
What made you make that choice to go from high school to ROTC?
Leadership is all about making you a more well-rounded leader, not just in the Army, but as you as a person.
The U.S. Army All-American Bowl is brought to you by Football University, training the top 7th through 11th graders. FootballUniversity.org. And by the San Antonio Convention and Visitors Bureau. Visit sanantonio.com. The top outside linebacker in this year's class, that's Jalen Smith out of Fort Wayne. He's going to visit South Bend for the next 4 seasons. He is one of 6 players top ranked at his position, playing here in the 13th annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Earlier this week, he spent time on the practice field with our own Anthony Herron.
All right, so Jalen, now I'm going to try to do what most people haven't been able to do, and that's block you off the edge. Give me kind of a brief idea of what we're going to see.
If I get a speed rush and I rush hard and he comes out, if he cheats out, then I'm going to plant and I'm going to come under. If he stays and he keeps his ground, then I'm going to use a move, whether it's club rip or swim.
Beat me with that speed. Let's see.
All right. Oh, what's that? I was going too fast.
Excellent work, man. Let's see some of those moves in the game.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
All right.
Thank you.
Anthony, was he taking it easy on you? Huh?
I was taking it easy on him, Paul. That's what it was.
Looked like he lost a step there.
I might have lost 2 or 3 steps, right? But Jalen Smith, just an incredible athlete at that size to be able to move at the speed that he moves at. And he was a high school tailback as well. Ran for 150 yards in his 4th state championship game.
And it's amazing that he's the first Mr. Football coming from Fort Wayne, Indiana, because Fort Wayne...
Well, standing next to you, it's extremely amazing.
Well, we've had several guys come through collegiate football and go into the pros. And for him to be the first guy in northern Indiana, Fort Wayne, to be there, it's an amazing task on his part.
Quarterbacking for the very first time this afternoon for the West squad. Number 1 is Tyrone Swoops, who put White, Texas, a town of only 1,700, about 60 miles north of Dallas, on the national recruiting map. Had offers from Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Stanford, and Oregon. He's going to stay close to home. Actually, he just put the football on the turf. Tyrone going to play his college football for the University of Texas. Coming up with that fumble recovery for the E squad. Al-Quaiden Muhammad, who will announce his college intention a little bit later here in the broadcast. He's out of Don Bosco Prep in New Jersey.
It seems like every year we do this game, there are dominant defensive linemen coming out of Don Bosco Prep, and Al-Quaiden Muhammad, as many players left there last season, he was the guy that remained in high school, and he was as dominant as any defensive end that we've seen around the country. You see the athleticism to be able to stay with a quarterback like Tyrone Swoops out in space, not only get the strip, but come up with the fumble recovery.
Al-Quaiden Muhammad gonna declare a little bit later in the broadcast. Tony Stevens, a wide receiver, will let you know where he'll be catching passes for the next 4 years inside the Alamo Dome right after this. .307 left in the second quarter in the All-American Bowl, 7-0 East squad. It is declaration time once again. For more, here's Lewis Johnson.
Well, I'll take it with Tony Stevens, the wide receiver out of Orlando, Florida. His mom, Kayon, is here. His coach is here. And we've narrowed it down to 3 schools. He has terrific hands, so I'm sure these are 3 schools who would love to have his services next year. Florida State, Ohio State, and Texas A&M. Tony, who's it going to be?
I like to take my talents to
Texas A&M in a big win in the Cotton Bowl last night. Was this about going to play football with Johnny Manziel?
Not really. It's just like when I went down on my college visit, they showed me love, and Coach Sumlin, Coach Bain, and Coach Poland, I just really fell in love with the coach.
How about Kevin Sumlin? He has been on fire this year recruiting. Mike Farrell, I know that probably shoots them up the charts even a little bit more, right?
Yeah, they're going to be firmly entrenched in our top 10. And, you know, every kid says it's not the Johnny Manziel factor. It is the Johnny Manziel factor. They have 10 different players in this class that can play wide receiver. That is unheard of. 3 of these guys decommitted from other schools after Johnny football started weaving his magic in the SEC, including Tony Stevens, who was committed at Florida State. So they say Johnny Manziel, that's not a factor. It's a factor, trust me.
What a unique recruiting pitch for Texas A&M. For the passing game, especially, guys. Ryan Tannehill, top 10 pick in the draft for the Dolphins last year, and now you can come play with a Heisman Trophy winner for the next 3 seasons at quarterback.
Players coming out of high school want to have fun. And they're able to enjoy the idea of playing with a playmaker like Johnny Manziel. And Tony Stevens is a guy who's just going to add explosiveness to that Aggies passing game. I mean, there's something that Kevin Sumlin's been able to do in short order, because there was talent there in place under Mike Sherman, but Sumlin has made it an up-tempo, a fun offense to be in, and that's why we see now, I believe, Stevens, the 3rd different receiver we have in this game, headed to Texas A&M.
Yeah, Kevin Sumlin's done a wonderful job in his college coaching career, starting linebacker at Purdue when I was there, and I'm really amazed at what he has accomplished in his short tenure as being a head coach there at Texas A&M.
Ryan Burns, the quarterback. And the inside give.
First down.
To Derrick Henry, he had the only touchdown so far today. And also of 12,000 career rushing yards in high school, the all-time leader in that category. The quarterback, Ryan Burns, we talked about him just a little bit earlier in the first half, but he played only one game as a freshman at Stonebridge High School in Ashburn, Virginia. Lost his sophomore season to an injury to his non-throwing shoulder. His junior year completed only 44% of his passes and actually threw one more interception than touchdown, but did so well at Stanford's camp, he got offered a scholarship by Stanford, and he'll be a quarterback for the Cardinal for the next 4 years. And that is Derrick Henry once again. And it's just one more example, and I don't want to say that the summer camps, the national 7-on-7 tournaments and performing in front of coaches at their own campus camps are more important than what you do during the fall. But gosh, sometimes you just feel the importance of what's happened there, the institution of passing the football at camps the last 10 years.
The ability for a coach, for a recruiter to literally reach out and touch a kid, be able to see him in person. And so you see so many players now traveling around the country to display their skill set, not only in games like this, but over the summer, going to passing leagues, going to different combines to make sure everyone sees them all across the nation.
Derrick Henry once again, the workhorse here for the East team. Mr. Football in the state of Florida, going to play at Alabama. Coming up here the next 4 years. And Alabama has 3 running backs who have committed the Crimson Tide in this game. So that's pretty crowded. And then you look at the Alabama roster right now. They've lined up 5 tailbacks this season. They all have eligibility left. There's only one football.
But you know what makes it so intriguing is that Nick Saban has done a wonderful job with that program. And the competition is tremendous, and these guys believe in who they are. When they look in the mirror, they believe in their skill sets. They believe that if they go down there and compete, that they'll find playing time.
26 seconds left in the first half. And the East squad right now quarterbacked by Ryan Burns from Ashburn, Virginia, going to play quarterback at Stanford coming up in the fall. And inside of 30 seconds left, the East team will try and build on that lead of 7-0 when we come back inside the Alamo Dome.
Look at Adrian Peterson fighting his way in for the touchdown.
To be a part of the U.S. All-American game, it was a blessing, you know, just coming from where I came from and the different struggles, and to see how, you know, my hard work had paid off, playing with the best, you know, Ted Ginn, you know, Herman Johnson, you know, all those guys that I played with. It was cool.
Adrian Peterson played here in 2004, going to play tonight. What a Saturday of football we have for you. Wild Card Weekend kicks off after this with the Texans and the Bengals, then Adrian Peterson and the Vikings at Lambeau Field against the Packers. Adrian Peterson is watching today as he gets ready for his game tonight. Tweeting, watching the U.S. All-American game takes me back. That's all the way back to 2004 on a ride down memory lane. So many fantastic high school players went on to college success and also success in the National Football League. None better than Adrian Peterson, 9 yards away this year from breaking Eric Dickerson's all-time record as he rushed for over 2,000 yards in the regular season. Derrick Henry also rushed for over 2,000 yards this year. In fact, he ran for 4,261 on his way to being named Mr. Football in the state of Florida. But he's going to travel a little bit west to play in college and play for Nick Saban at Alabama.
We know HP has never been shy about talking about the big goals, the records that he feels he can set as a football player. An amazing story for Adrian Peterson this season, the recovery from multiple ligaments being torn in his knee. And as you mentioned, coming up 9 yards short.
For more on him, let's check in with Marty.
Well, Derrick Henry certainly no stranger to records either, is he, guys? And he's in a little bit of a weird situation from Monday night's national championship game. He's leaving for school on Sunday. He'll be there on Monday. I said, where are you going to watch the game? He said, I guess my dorm room. He said, I'm going to be the only one on campus associated with Alabama football who's not at the game. That's going to be kind of weird.
And I thought it was interesting as I got to know him a little bit this week. Not only pointed to, of course, as an Alabama running back, the first-round selections, Trent Richardson and Mark Ingram. He pointed out how much better those two backs got from their freshman to the junior year, like their improvement. And the way that program brought them along. Derek Green now the tailback. This is Ryan Burns at quarterback. And Ryan Burns lucky that one was not intercepted because right there was Antoine Davis. Going to play at Texas the next 4 years.
They snuck Derek Green out of the backfield, but he didn't get his eyes around to look for the football. And that set up the defender to almost have a pick six. You're looking at maybe 100 yards of green grass there if you come up with that catch.
I think that ball surprised Antoine Davis. He thought somebody was going to touch it. Nobody touched it, and it caught him a little faster than he thought it was going to get there.
3rd down and 5 now. Derrick Henry remains the tailback, and Ryan Burns still your quarterback. Football's on the turf. Henry picks it up, trying to get around that left side. And he is brought down by Michael Hutchings, a linebacker out of De La Salle High School in Concord, California. One of 13 players here will play at USC in the fall.
A lot of respect for Michael Hutchings right there because he's oversized out in open space. Michael Hutchings, 6'2", 213 pounds, out in the open field trying to take down 6'3", 240 pounds. It's kind of like, Rob, when you were out in space trying to take down guys like Bam Morris, Christian Okoye.
Yeah, you know, and Hutchins is from an outstanding program in Northern California, De La Salle, Catholic school up there, all-boys school. They've done a tremendous job of putting players in college year in, year out and winning championships for so often in Northern California.
This is Jim Cooper trying to make it 10-0, and that's blocked. The West squad all over that one. So the Derrick Henry touchdown, the running back on his way to Alabama, the only points on the board here in the first half in the Alamo Dome. Jim Cooper's kick is blocked, and number 25 for the West squad, Antoine Davis. Almost had the interception a couple moments ago, makes up for it.
A number of different guys with an opportunity to block that field goal.
This means a lot to these guys. You have to love the excitement and enthusiasm these guys are bringing to the football field for an all-star game.
7-0 at halftime of the 13th annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl. On the other side of this break, the entire football night in America crew will have you covered. Getting ready for the huge night of football after this. 2 wild-card games. It starts with the Texans and the Bengals, and it finishes off with a classic NFC North rivalry, the Vikings and the Packers. You'll be in our New York studios right after this. For us here this afternoon.
Hey, gun left, 62 smash, H-cop. Gun left, 62 smash, H-cop. Ready? What?
Remember, I love the way your demeanor is right now. That's perfect. You know what I mean?
And Jeremy Johnson, the quarterback right now, committed to Auburn, also thinking a little bit about playing at Ole Miss. Looks like he'll be the quarterback stepping onto the field as the East team getting ready to start the 3rd quarter. Derrick Henry's touchdown has the East team on top 7-0 as we get ready here to kick off the 2nd half. Back deep to receive, Shelton Gibson is number 3. And James Quick is number 17. Showing you his clicks just across the 30-yard line. On the sideline, the National Player of the Year standing by with Lewis Johnson.
And it is Max Brown of the West team out of Sammamish, Washington, here with his dad, Mike. And so a big moment for you as this week continues. You've received this award from the United States Army. But let's step back and talk about the week. What's the experience been like with the Army and with all these players?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's a true honor. But to come out here with all these guys, all the top talent in the U.S., it's been a lot of fun. And to hang out with the soldiers, kind of hear their story. I mean, it's been a week-long experience. It's been a lot of fun.
Dad, you've got the Trojans jersey on there, so what are you looking forward to not only today but in the years to come?
Well, he goes to college next week, and I'm looking forward to him to grow the next 4 years. It's a great program, and it's a family atmosphere, much like it was at Sammamish.
Now, finally, you are one of 13 Trojans who are headed there. So what's the recruiting been like in the hallways? Have you been sort of leading the charge to try to get more guys to commit to SC?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, we have 13 guys there, and we're trying to get a few more. But, I mean, it's been a lot of fun to hang out with those guys. And, I mean, I've been talking to Eddie Vanderdoes a little bit.
Because he hasn't committed yet, has he? He actually decommitted.
He decommitted from us, trying to get him back. He's had a big sack today. But, I mean, there's been a lot of good guys here. And, I mean, my only completion was to Stephen Mitchell, a USC guy. My running back's Justin Davis. So it's been a lot of fun to hang out with those guys.
All right, Max, congratulations to you, and good luck the next 4 years.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Paul?
And Lewis, he gets a head start on those next 4 years. A week from Monday, he's already graduated from high school. He enrolls at FC. Coming up here a week from Monday. And that's the first play from the E squad here. Jonathan McCrary of the second half is the quarterback, and the running back is Greg Bryant from Delray Beach, Florida. He'll play for Notre Dame.
Our national audience just got a sense of the presence that Max Brown has. We've been able to be around it throughout the week, and you love a quarterback who the stage isn't too big for him. That's what you look for when you're evaluating a player, when you're a coach looking to see, is he a guy that can come in and play early? And after Matt Barkley doing that as a true freshman, Max Brown seems like that same type of guy who can handle a big stage.
Led Skyline to a pair of state championships there in Washington, the last two in a row. And once again, this is Greg Bryant. Tackle made by Kylie Fitz, speaking of USC, out of East Valley High School in Redlands, California. He's also going to play for the Trojans. Today's declarations, here's what we've already seen. Tyler Boyd and JoJo Mathis, Tony Stevens, and we're looking forward to the next three coming up here throughout the second half of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl.
Al-Quadin Muhammad, someone's going to get a great pass rusher, a guy with a great build. You know, he's already got the frame of a college football defensive lineman, but he plays with an aggressive mentality that you look for out of a guy who can have a shot at stepping in as a true freshman.
Empty backfield out of the shotgun formation, and Jonathan McCrary sees something he doesn't like. Going to come over and have a conversation here with 10:33 left in the third quarter. Mr. Muhammad knows where he's going. We don't know yet, but we will find out. What college will receive his defensive services coming up here in the second half of the U.S. Army All-American Bowl?
I'm Al-Quadin Muhammad, defensive end from Don Bosco Prep. Stay tuned, because I'll be making my college declaration live on NBC Sports. Coming up next.
The U.S. Army All-American Bowl is brought to you by the U.S. Army. They're strong, and then there's Army Strong. And by Football University, training the top 7th graders through 11th graders. footballuniversity.org. It is once again declaration time. That's the U.S. Army All-American Band, the 6th year of U.S. Army All-American Band performing here inside the Alamo Dome. Here is Marty Snyder.
Al-Quadin Muhammad, the one everybody's been waiting on, the defensive lineman. We have Mom Michelle already waving a pom-pom over there. Coach Greg Toll over here. And we've narrowed it down to this. Notre Dame, long thought to be the favorite. Alabama and the University of Miami, who made a big push at the very end. And we understand the visit went very well at Miami as well. Al-Quadin, who's it going to be?
First and foremost, I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to play in this game. I want to thank my coaches. I want to thank everybody. I mean, it's a great accomplishment to play in this game. A lot of people want to play in this game, and, you know, they don't get the chance to play in this game. But I want to thank all the coaches that recruited me from each school. But I think I'm going to take my talent to the University of Miami.
He's going to go with Al Golden. Now, Al Golden, the day after the official visit, flew home to meet with you. Him flying home to meet with you, was that the commitment you wanted to see in committing to Miami?
Yes, they showed a lot of support. They was hungry. I went to the University of Miami, and I visited. They came and see me, and they showed a lot of commitment.
Michelle, he wanted me to remind you it's only a 2-hour flight, so don't worry, he'll be too close. He's going to Miami, guys.
And Marty, this is a football player that's going to help continue to bring the Miami Hurricanes to that next level in their comeback trail for being a preeminent program. Al-Quadin Muhammad, 6'4", about 230 pounds, and he's a guy who I believe already has the mechanics as a pass rusher, as a run stuffer, a guy coming off the edge who can be that next great defensive lineman that the Hurricanes need.
And you try to find those guys that have that rare talent, the size, the speed, the football IQ, and he definitely has it.
1st and 10 for the East squad on the 41-yard line, already leading 7-0. Nice cutback, but met in the backfield. Greg Bryant dropped, and there to hit him first, the #1 outside linebacker in this class, Jalen Smith. He's headed to Notre Dame. Let's check in again with Mike Farrell.
Yeah, there's a New Jersey connection to Miami. Al Golden, Mark D'Onofrio, the defensive coordinator, all of those guys have Jersey ties. Their quarterback, Kevin Olson, in this class is from New Jersey. So getting Al-Quadin Muhammad, Notre Dame was recruiting him as a linebacker in a 3-4. I keep talking about versatility. This is a guy who has it. He's going to be a tremendous edge rusher. He can stand up, work in space, and he'll be about 255 pounds, I think, once he hits the training table down there.
Congratulations.
2nd down, 12 coming up. Jonathan McCrary setting up the screen to Bryant. Showing a little patience with his blocks, and a big hit delivered by Tahan Goodman. Tahan undecided on where he'll play his college football. We do know #1, Greg Bryant, will play at Notre Dame.
6'2", 185. Put a licking. And whoever gets him, they're going to get one thing. They're going to get a guy who runs through the tackle. And he'll be taught to wrap him up, Anthony, once he gets to college. But that's the type of player you're going to get, a guy who doesn't fear making a big hit on a bigger back.
You would certainly hope they're going to teach him how to wrap up. There is some tackling issues, I would say, at the higher levels of football with people wanting to make those highlight plays. But when you look at it, Goodman certainly made a highlight right there.
#12 for the East squad at quarterback is Jonathan McCrary, Vanderbilt's first commitment for the class of 2013. Once again looking for Bryant, and Bryant making it happen himself. Cutting it back, and how's that for a move? McCrary to Bryant for an East 1st down inside of West Territory. The tackle made by Michael Hutchings, the linebacker, who will play at USC.
And you're going to see one of the big men, big 55, Khalil Rogers, appear on your screen. You love to see offensive guards chasing the football out in space, looking for people to block. As Greg Bryant's trying to make moves out in space, finally you saw that West defense rallying those gold jerseys to the football.
Could be some room in the backfield at Notre Dame coming up next fall, as Notre Dame set to lose its top 2 rushers in Theo Riddick and also Sierra Wood.
Substitution infraction on the offense, 5 yards, 1st down.
So Jonathan McCrary said he wanted to play against Alabama and Georgia, not for them. He turned down a number of traditional Southern powerhouses, Georgia, Auburn, Florida State, to say yes to James Franklin and Vanderbilt, a program that's on the rise, longest winning streak they've had since 1948, winning the final 7 games of this past season.
An inflection of energy into the Commodores football program when James Franklin got there. That's what helps recruiting. You win some games, you let people know that there's energy around your program. I mean, as much as people talk about why certain conferences like the Big Ten may have stepped back in recruiting in a certain way, you look at the class that Ohio State's putting together this year, you look at the class Michigan's putting together this year, it's about a coaching staff getting an infusion of energy, and people are willing to go and play where they feel like a game is going to be important.
And I mentioned that the man he just handed to, Greg Bryant, might find some open space in the backfield because of graduation at South Bend. Well, Jonathan McCrary going to find the same thing at Vanderbilt. Aaron Rodgers' younger brother, Jordan Rodgers, the starting quarterback. His eligibility is finished there in Nashville as well. Rivals.com. For the latest news leading up to National Signing Day, be sure to check out Rivals.com. Get the inside scoop from the top recruiting analyst for only $9.99 a month. And we've enjoyed having the services of national recruiting analyst Mike Farrell from Rivals.com with us throughout the afternoon. We'll hear from him a number of times in the next hour. 3rd down and 8 now for the East team. McCrary to the sideline, a young man who's going to announce his intention of make his declaration. James Quick a little bit later here in the 2nd half. Grew up in Louisville, thinking hard about the Cardinals, but he also likes those Ohio State Buckeyes.
And he's got a family with a lot of athleticism, and he's got a sister running track at Louisville right now. His dad, Ron, played football at Louisville, and he said his dad told him that if you don't get if you don't get tackled, then you're not going to get hurt. So he's a guy with not a big frame yet, Rod, but he's a guy who's got some ability to be elusive out in open space.
And his favorite receiver in the league right now is Mike Wallace. He's wearing the same number. And Mike Wallace would have told him, you got to run the ball probably 3 more yards on that route and come back.
That was 4th down and 2, and there's Derek Green, the #1 running back, according to Rivals.com, in the nation. That's an easy choice on 4th and 2.
The head coach of these, Bob Beatty, told me this is the most talented running back he's been around since Liddell Betts, who he had before he went to Louisville. He actually had Liddell Betts in Blue Springs, Missouri. And at 6'2", 220 pounds, the burst that he shows once he gets through the hole, that's why Derek Green is #1 in the country. Not just the power through a tackle, but the burst out in open space.
He's a big back, and a lot of people don't give him credit for the top-end speed that he does have.
Self-described inside, north, and south runner. And that's Derek Henry out of Yulee, Florida. He plays college football at Alabama.
What we saw Derek Henry do at the end of the run there is something he's going to have to continue to emphasize, dropping the pad level. This is a big target, so defenders, especially at the SEC level, the speed, the power they can tackle you with, he's going to be a huge target for people to get into his thighs. You certainly don't want to tackle a guy like that too high, but Derek Henry, you see him right now in a game like this, working on dropping that pad level as he finishes runs.
Mr. Football in the state of Florida averaged 250 yards per game in his career. Back to Derek Green. Nice job there by the West defense. That's Eddie Vanderdoes. For more on Eddie, let's check in with Lewis Johnson.
Well, I was talking with Eddie earlier in the week, and, you know, he is a guy who had originally committed to USC and then decommitted before he got here to San Antonio. He said it's been an awfully difficult situation, but he wanted to make that decommitment before he got here and answered a lot of questions. And you got to know that he has been worn out by his quarterback, Max, who's leading that charge of 13 guys going to Southern California. But he's got some big decisions to make: USC, UCLA, Notre Dame, Alabama, Washington. Oh, my goodness, the list is long for this kid.
And Max Brown said yesterday at practice, we're going to get him back. We'll still eventually end up with him. That's Jonathan McCrary ending up inside the 5-yard line.
Eddie Vanderdoes, he's a guy who still says that USC is #1 as he sees it on his list. And not just the measurables that are there at 6'3", 215 pounds, but he's got quickness. He's got strength at the point of attack. High football IQ. That's where you see Rivals has him 4.0 on the instincts as well. He's a guy who should be able to go in and play and contribute immediately with the program. Notre Dame being in the national championship game Monday night, that's a big stage for them to feature for some of these recruits who still haven't committed yet.
East team going for it on 4th down and 1. And a running back is the #1 running back in the nation. That's Derek Green. It looks like a quarterback sneak coming up, though, from Jonathan McCrary. And that's going to be right at the 1st down marker. Jonathan McCrary says he has that 1st down. And timeout here for measurement. Football comes pretty naturally to Jonathan McCrary, his father, a 5th-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons back in 1975. Played 8 seasons in the NFL with the Falcons, the Redskins, and also the Chargers. And the son of the former NFL tight end, the quarterback-to-be for Vanderbilt on a quarterback sneak, gains a 1st down for the East team.
It's a bevy of riches in the backfield for the East right now. Do you give it to Derek Green? Do you give it to Derek Henry? You've got guys with big thighs, guys with big power here inside the 5-yard line.
Derek Henry is the tailback behind McCrary. He has the only touchdown of this game so far, taking a shot at #2. And he is dropped right away. Jalen Smith is #9. Top-ranked outside linebacker in the country on his way to South Bend.
The element of Jalen Smith's game is his speed, his elusiveness, the way he can get skinny, even skinnier than that frame already is, and penetrate into the backfield. We've seen him continue to be able to feature that throughout the game, and that's what Brian Kelly, Bob Diaco, the defensive coordinator, they've been able to add that.
15-yard penalty, first down.
They've been able to add that element to the Irish defense. There was a stretch there, Rod, you know it well, where Notre Dame, they're in the state of Indiana, they started struggling recruiting athletes for a little while, but the speed they have on the defensive side of the football, I think people are going to be surprised Monday night that there's not that big advantage for Alabama that might have been expected a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Manti Te'o, the way he's played for Notre Dame, especially this year, and you bring in an athlete like Jalen Smith, who just so rare, you know, the size he has, 6'3", 223 pounds, but he can run with receivers down the field. You don't find that too often in linebackers.
Derek Green trying to cut it up inside, but nice job by Miles Jack, linebacker out of Bellevue, Washington, who plays college football at UCLA. Quite a season for the Bruins. Easy to see why a young man would want to go play for Jim Mora after the way they played this past fall.
Well, that's where recruiting has gone now. I mean, I talk about the energy with other programs. Jim Mora Jr., he was my coach when I was with the Atlanta Falcons, certainly one of these energetic types of coaches.
Second down, 19. Second down and goal from the 19-yard line. McCrary looking for the touch pass out of the backfield to Taquan Mazzell, running back out of Virginia Beach. And the coverage there, no surprise, by number 9 there, Jalen Smith. He has been all over the field today.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see him return some kicks before the game's over, because Jalen Smith is a guy with the type of versatility, and you said it, Rod, you rarely see an athlete like this. And to be able to go to a school like Notre Dame, I mean, he's got it upstairs too. Extremely humble young man, but he's a guy who this stage isn't too big for him either.
During practice, he was out there covering receivers on one-on-one drills. I mean, that's the type of athlete that you have as a linebacker in Jalen Smith.
Third down and goal now from the 19-yard line. McCrary lifted it to the end zone. That ball was caught, but out of bounds was DeMarcus Robinson. Receiver out of Fort Valley, Georgia, who will play his college football for Mark Richt and the Georgia Bulldogs.
I like the thought process. Throw it up top. Allow your big play wide receiver. DeMarcus Robinson, he's high-pointed some footballs in situations just like this throughout the week. And he actually did a nice job, I think, giving his quarterback some space towards the sideline to deliver the football, but the ball just carried out of bounds on Jonathan McCrary.
Number 85 is Jim Cooper out of Linwood, New Jersey, and he has committed to Temple. And once again, a field goal block the second time this afternoon. The West squad has blocked a field goal attempt from Jim Cooper. Jalen Smith again.
Unbelievable.
Did he come up with that block?
That was the guy.
And you have to just love the energy these guys have. Making the block. Wow. This is, I think we all have to remember, this is an all-star game.
Yeah.
They don't have to act like this, and they love the competition.
Jalen Smith said, hey, Indiana's not just a basketball state. We play football there as well, and he's playing a very good brand here today. Inspiring America's youth to pursue educational opportunities in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is critical to our national prosperity. Here at the All-American Bowl, the U.S. Army demonstrated the importance of mental strength as well as physical during a touch robotics competition. Lieutenant General Thomas Bostic showed us the other game at the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. This one pitting young minds in a competition that both educates and inspires.
A big part of the All-American Bowl goes beyond football, but also includes the robotics competition. This is cutting-edge stuff. It's bringing the best of the best together. And what I hope is that we will excite enough youngsters to meet the requirements that the nation will need.
Interesting for all of us to spend time with the Army throughout the week, and their message is really, we love being a part of athletics, similar kind of qualities that we value. And this is a great outreach week for us to let people know that the human side of the Army as well as the professional side.
That's what, from a public standpoint, can get lost too easily, and the Army wants to make sure they send the message that there is a human face, a human being in each of these uniforms.
Nice run by Thomas Tyner. Great series from outside linebacker, the top-rated linebacker in this class. Jalen Smith in the last series. You see he has a bloody nose there that he suffered in that last series.
Hey, Coach. Yeah. Coach, I'm good. Oh, yeah.
Jalen Smith wants some more.
That's how we do it in Fort Wayne, guys.
Bloody but not bad.
Just let you know.
Tyrone Swoops, the quarterback at White Wright, Texas, keeps it to pick up a West first down. Lewis Johnson, come on in.
Nose still plugged up there, and another trainer coming over to see what's happening. Jalen told me a moment ago that he got that bloody nose when he blocked that extra point. He doesn't know exactly if it was the ball or someone's hand or fist. He said it's just football, but he continues to have a smile on his face some of the time. But again, said he's back in just a moment. But that's what happened on the kick.
Probably a plus-minus there of Brian Kelly, Bobby Diago. If they're watching right now, they're thinking, yeah, we love the toughness, but they don't want the young player out here getting too banged up.
Tailback for the West right now with the football. Number 22 is Alti Tenpenny. He knows a little bit about toughness as he broke his ankle first game of his sophomore year and came back and played hard. Earned an offer to the University of Alabama.
And on that field goal block, Jalen Smith came out the right side of your screen. Again, talking about him getting skinny through gaps, being able to find creases. And there were a couple of his teammates with an opportunity to block it as well. But in an atmosphere like this, and you mentioned it, Rod, an all-star game, these guys don't have to play that hard. But the effort and enthusiasm every time you step on the field, that's what you like to see.
Tenpenny once again. This time he is met in the backfield by that East defense. Keith Bryant is number 95 out of Delray Beach, Florida. No decision on his college intentions yet. Three quarters in the books here, 7-0, the East team. Not just about the competition, also all about the declarations. Number 17 with a smile on his face. He knows exactly where he's going to play college football. We don't know yet, but we'll find out in the fourth quarter.
Hi, I'm James Quick, wide receiver, Trinity High School, Louisville, Kentucky. Stay tuned because I'll be making my college declaration live on NBC Sports next.
We've had 4 declarations already. Al-Quadin Muhammad going to play in Miami. Tony Stevens with Johnny Football, Texas A&M. JoJo Mathis played defensive line at Washington. And Tyler Boyd, a wide receiver at Pittsburgh. Time for the next one. Marty Snyder, it's all yours.
And that will be with the wide receiver James Quick out of Louisville. And this is one of the most highly anticipated selections of the day because for a long time, many people thought Louisville was the one in the lead, but he came to San Antonio and said Ohio State was in the lead. So I think the recruiting experts have no idea which one's going to get picked here. We have Mom Janine, Dad Ron over there. James, who's it going to be?
First off, I want to thank God, and I also want to thank my family and my coaches. And I also want to thank all the coaches that recruited me. But I'm going to the University of Louisville.
He's going to stay in the hometown and go to the University of Louisville. Now, how much did Dad have to do with this? Because your dad played football and ran track at Louisville.
He had a big factor in it, but, you know, it was ultimately my decision. So, you know, this coordination.
Big bowl win for Charlie Strong, Mike Farrell, and a big pickup today.
Yeah, huge pickup for them. And, you know, again, like Marty said, he showed up here and said Ohio State was his leader. So I don't know if the bowl game had to do anything to do with it or if he's just sort of playing around. But this is a kid that does everything well. You see he's in the 4 range, except for that first step off the line. He's very explosive off the line of scrimmage, allows him to gain separation. Charlie Strong had 2 declarations last year in our game, 1 this year. I mean, he's really got things rolling in Louisville headed to the ACC.
Saw plenty of 4s there, guys. Also got to throw out a 3.8. That's his impressive grade point as he looks forward to studying accounting at Louisville.
Got 2 parents who ran track in college. Not only his dad, Ron, at Louisville, but his mom ran track at MTSU, Middle Tennessee State.
3rd down and 6 for the Texas-bound quarterback Tyrone Swoops. Nice pocket to step into. And just overshoots his intended receiver. And that's, well, there's a look at James Quick, the wide receiver who just said, I'm going to Louisville.
6'1", 180 pounds. And there's a lot of skyscrapers in this game right now at the wide receiver position, but James Quick is a guy who can get in and out of his breaks, and that's what you're going to need when you go to Louisville. They need that versatility of skill set at the wide receiver position, and that position continues to grow. Think of what we saw the other night from Teddy Bridgewater. To be able to add this type of weapon into that Louisville Cardinals offense is going to be great.
Miles Bergner going to punt now for the West squad. And he is not going to punt. That is a fake punt. Carrying the football is Tre'Davious White, defensive back out of Shreveport, on his way to LSU. And it looks like Tre'Davious just enough for a West first down.
Caught me off guard with that one. You don't normally see
a little trickeration in an all-star game. You normally don't see that. But they've been struggling. The West has been struggling to get that offense going. So this hopefully can jumpstart this offense.
See who comes out at quarterback now for the West squad. And it looks like the top quarterback in the nation. Out of Sammamish High School, just outside of Seattle, that's Max Brown. 9 days away from starting his college career at USC. West team starts on the ground, and Justin Davis with the football. Justin Davis will also be a USC Trojan.
And in speaking to Mike Jenks before the game, the West head coach, he said, I'm going to rotate the guys every 2 series at the quarterback position, but then once we get to the 4th quarter, I've got to figure out who the hot hand is, and that's who they're going to stay with. So the #1 quarterback in the country, down 7-0 right now. We'll see if Max Brown is going to be the guy to lead this team through the rest of the game. Definitely a daunting task he's got across from him with that East defensive front.
Empty backfield, 3 wide receivers to his left and a pair to his right, and nothing but trouble in front of him. And Max Brown, it goes down. Sacked by Al-Quadin Muhammad. A little while ago here in the second half, he said, I'm going to play football at the University of Miami.
Al-Quadin Muhammad going to the U. I talked about the versatility of skill set. He's only 230, but he gets into the pads of the offensive tackle and then snatches off a little speed to power move there from Muhammad.
Now, Thursday, December 18th, the final day of school at Skyline for the #1 quarterback right there, Max Brown. He was pulled out of class and surprised at the ceremony with the national award, the National Player of the Year presented by Gatorade, presented by Russell Wilson, quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. Just flings it down to the right, and that one ends up out of bounds. We have a penalty marker down. Going to be pass interference. And number 5 for the East team, Kendall Fuller, the top-rated corner in the country. Going to play his college football at Virginia Tech, just like his brothers.
Pass interference on the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
But as I mentioned, Max Brown presented on his final day of school, because he graduated early, with the Gatorade National Player of the Year award by Russell Wilson, a quarterback he got to know at a summer camp. And Russell was kind enough to spend his off day getting ready for that big win against the 49ers a couple weeks ago. Spent his off day with Max presenting him with that prestigious award.
A great surprise by an outstanding rookie quarterback in the National Football League.
16 touchdowns to 2 picks in the second half of the season. That's pretty good for any quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback.
Absolutely.
Now let's take a look at our Gatorade Players of the Year. And here they are. Max Brown out of the state of Washington. He is the National Player of the Year, but Sua Craven's also going to be a USC Trojan. Derrick Henry, James Quick, who just moments ago let us know he's going to stay home and play his college football at Louisville. Kendall Hunter, the top corner in the country, going to play at Virginia Tech. Jonathan Allen on his way to Alabama. Those were Gatorade's Players of the Year. And there's the National Player of the Year, according to Gatorade, Max Brown. Out of Skyline High School, back here inside the Alamo Dome. 9 minutes and 48 seconds left in the 4th quarter of the 13th annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl as Max Brown goes down. Max Brown, the quarterback for USC to be, started his career there a week from Monday. Watch this drive here in a moment. Right now, let's take a look at how American Family Insurance honors the families and players of America's top football athletes. Being selected to the U.S. Army All-American Bowl is the realization of a dream for these players and the product of endless hours of hard work and dedication. But none of this is possible without the family, coaches, and friends who help protect those dreams along the way. American Family Insurance is proud to recognize the hard work of these important figures with the Dream Protector Award. Congratulations to all of the All-Americans, as well as their Dream Protectors. American Family Insurance. Your dream is out there. Go get it. We'll protect it. Max Brown's immediate dream to be the starting quarterback at USC, and it's going to be one of the major stories as we start to think about spring football. Who's going to take the place of Matt Barkley? Max Wittig, Cody Kessler, or maybe Max Brown?
It's going to be an open competition, I think, but Max Wittig, he's obviously got the playing experience at this point.
Brown looking deep, and that ball nearly intercepted by the nation's #1 corner, Kendall Fuller. Intended receiver, Ricky Seals-Jones. He's on his way to Texas A&M. One of 3 pass catchers here in this game. Going to go play at Texas A&M and be a part of what Kevin Sumlin is building and be part of that offense that's led by the Heisman Trophy winner, Johnny Manziel. As we just saw, the Army well represented here inside the Alamo Dome. 9:40 left in the fourth. Brown goes down once again. He's been in trouble this entire series. And that's the second sack. Number 99 is Frank Herron out of Central High School in Memphis, Tennessee. He's on his way to LSU.
We saw a trick play just a moment ago from the West, and so now some pass rush games coming from the East. And Frank Herron looks good. Nice looking last name, great number 99. Reminds me of somebody else I used to know. No relation as far as I can tell, though, but another talented pass rusher headed to LSU.
And the East defensive line has really dominated this game so far. And we know we talk about the quarterbacks, but the running backs for the East have been the bright spots of both sides of the football.
Who's going to play on 3rd down and 20?
Max Brown.
He's trying to avoid a sack, dumps it out of the backfield. That's Zeke Elliott out of St. Louis, who plays college football for Urban Meyer at Ohio State.
And he got 19.
Would not surprise me at all if it is ruled that he came up short. I see the West going for this one still with 0 on the board. They're inside the opponent's 40. But Zeke Elliott, he's a guy in that Percy Harvin sort of mold, and we know under Urban Meyer what Percy Harvin was able to do
defense
at Florida.
The penalty is declined. 4th down.
And Zeke Elliott, you know, a little bigger, a little thicker build than Harvin was at this point in his life. Elliott's 6 foot, 205 pounds, but he's played running back. He's played some wide receiver. He's even played some defensive back. Wouldn't have surprised me if we saw him play a little nickel or safety at some point in this game. But that versatility of skill set that we've seen Urban Meyer take advantage of as a head coach.
4th down and 1 now for the West team. The tailback behind Max Brown, Thomas Tyner. Offensive Player of the Year 2 of the last 3 years in the state of Oregon. Will stay at home and plays college football for the Ducks. This will be a pass on 4th and 1, and that's Max Brown putting it right on Stephen Mitchell. And that's a combination you can get used to. Max Brown going to USC. Stephen Mitchell also going to be a Trojan. And that's a 1st down for the West team.
And that's a long throw for a quarterback going from the left hash all the way outside the numbers to the right side, and the ball was put on the money, and that's why USC is so excited to have a quarterback that just have a strong arm to make those type of throws at the high school level, but definitely at the college level.
1st down and 10 now for Max Brown and the West team. New tailback just to the left of Brown is Alti Tenpenny from Little Rock, Arkansas, going to play at Alabama. And he's trying to get his way out of the backfield now. Doing a nice job of staying on his feet. Lowering the shoulder, and that's as impressive of a 1-yard run as you will see from Alti Tenpenny. You can see him do that at Alabama for the next 4 years.
The depth and the talent at the tailback position already in Tuscaloosa for the Crimson Tide. Multiple players in this ball game headed down to Alabama saying they want to be the next Mark Ingram. They want to be the next Eddie Lacy, who we're going to see on Monday night in the BCS championship game. Tenpenny can pick it up, put it down, stops on a dime. He's got burst when he gets the ball in his hands as well.
Tremendous athlete, 37-inch vertical, bench presses over 335 pounds, strong young back.
Another new tailback in the game. That's Justin Davis as Max Brown keeps it himself. Probably not going to keep the football too many times in his career at USC, but if you can pick up a few yards, why not?
And you know, he's one of the pure pocket passers that are, you don't see too many left. It's a lot of spread offenses in high school, a lot of read zones in high school, so you're finding more athletic quarterbacks play that position. But he has that arm strength. He's one of the old school guys that can stay in the pocket and throw it all across the field.
Well, we showed it in the pregame show. I had a good time with Max Brown on the field displaying the ability. As a pro-style quarterback, they're still going to do some bootlegs, some sprint outs when he's at Southern California. He's able to be accurate outside the pocket. He's got good mechanics when he gets there as well.
3rd down and 5, back to the air and looking to the end zone, and touchdown West Team. Derek Griffin at 6'7". Pretty good target there for Max Brown.
I referenced the skyscrapers that are out here on the football field. No skyscraper standing taller than Derek Griffin at 6'7". To be able to high point the football is what you've got to have when you get in the red zone, because the field is condensed down here. Defensive backs don't have to be in a recovery or trail position as often, but when you're 6'7", you're always open, right?
6'7", 226 pounds. He's playing receiver today. But I could see in maybe 3 years, because he's going to get bigger, he's going to get stronger when he gets to college. Being one of those tight ends, that's a nightmare matchup for defensive coordinators across the National Football League, and collegiate football starting to look for those guys also.
That Tyler Eifert type, the Notre Dame tight end, used to be an inline, used to be a wide receiver, now can be an inline blocker. They can put him in the slot, move him out to the X position.
Max Brown, touchdown pass. And an extra point would tie this game at 7. He's one of 13 USC Trojans playing in this game.
Baby! Yeah! Yeah! Put it up to your boy! Yeah! Yeah!
And he's excited for those 12 other Trojans to join him this fall on campus.
To have so many USC guys here, I think it's awesome. I mean, it's fun to see the Trojans doing well in recruiting. I'm sure it'll lead to some success we have in the Pac-12.
To be here with all those guys, it's just a wonderful feeling to know that you're able to go somewhere and compete.
It's a strong core group of guys we hear, obviously. I mean, 13, 14 guys, it's pretty remarkable.
With us having so many commits here, I have like 4 on my team, on the East team, and that was another great feeling, building chemistry and a bond on the field.
It's a bunch of great football players, a bunch of great people, and I think we're all looking forward to playing with each other and getting down to USC.
Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go.
Max Brown fires a touchdown pass moments ago. And as I said, an extra point would tie, but even better, a 2-point conversion will put the West team on top 8-7. And going for 2 is exactly what they're going to try and do. The tailback, number 4, is Thomas Tyner. Oregon's Offensive Player of the Year in 2 of the last 3 years. Brown to the end zone, 2 points, West squad. Deshaun Smith, the tight end out of Lake Charles, Louisiana.
We just referenced it, guys. Spent time talking to Max Brown about being a, quote, pro-style quarterback, but still being nimble enough to move the pocket. He can throw it rolling to his left, to his weak side, but he can most certainly be accurate, rolling right, delivering the football right on the money. And finally, the West team, after getting on the board, they have the lead.
Take a listen here to Max Brown right after that successful play.
Let's go, boy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
A USC Trojan to an LSU Tiger. We're back right after this. The U.S. Army All-American Bowl is brought to you by the U.S. Army. They're strong, and then there's Army Strong. And by American Family Insurance. Pursue your dreams and we'll protect them. And by the San Antonio Convention and Visitors Bureau. Visit sanantonio.com. And the West team just visited the end zone for the first time here this afternoon, and a successful two-point conversion. Max Brown with a TD toss. And also the successful completion for the 2 points, and the West team leads 8-7. Number 17 back there deep for the East squad, wide receiver James Quick out of Louisville, and earlier in the second half he had his declaration. Let us all know that he'll play his college football for Charlie Strong at Louisville. Program on the rise, an impressive bowl victory.
Outstanding bowl victory versus Florida.
Start to finish, they look good.
It's good to see Teddy Bridgewater on a national stage with people getting to see, because there's not a lot of talent around him yet, but getting playmakers like James Quick is going to take that Louisville offense to the next level.
It looked pretty good the other day.
Taquan Mizzell. Taquan Mizzell still going. Out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, and on his way to Charlottesville to play for the Cavaliers. Outstanding return of 77 yards.
Heading to Virginia, and Taquan Mizzell's nickname is Smoke, with good reason. He's got speed to burn, and those afterburners kicked it into high gear. He was ready to take it to the house, but you see the West coverage team rallying to the football, just getting him before he hit all the way to pay dirt.
And we shouldn't be surprised that the special teams are doing well or doing poorly, but well in the return, just for the fact most of these guys don't do a lot of returns, don't do a lot of special teams in high school. But when they get to college, they will be asked to be a part of the special team, so they need to get used to it.
So we'll see the East team for the first time trailing today, starting off in excellent position on the 28-yard line. The quarterback is Jeremy Johnson, a commit to Auburn. And Mizzell, after the 77-yard return, loses yardage, as that West defense stepping up strong here on the first play of this series.
Now we're starting to see the pride of athletes come into play. That they're all competitors. They want to win. At the end of the day, it's bragging rights. Yeah, some of these guys might be on the same collegiate team, but they can go back and say, you know what? Our all-star team beat your all-star team. And that's bragging rights in the locker room.
Tailback behind Jeremy Johnson. Derrick Henry, the all-time leading rusher in the history of high school football, over 12,000 yards. Play action, Johnson still has it. And Johnson run out of bounds by Mike Mitchell, a linebacker out of Plano, Texas. He's uncommitted, but will only be uncommitted for a few more minutes. We'll have his declaration coming up here inside the Alamo Dome here in the fourth quarter.
That was really well done by Mike Mitchell, out setting the edge. He had Derrick Henry, who outweighs him by about 20 pounds right now. But Derrick Henry tried to block him out in space. Mike Mitchell played off the block well. He's a guy who can play outside linebacker. He can play inside linebacker. He said he kind of prefers outside right now because he likes the opportunity to rush the quarterback, but he's projected as a guy who can be a Mike linebacker. I love the way he accelerates through contact.
Only 222. All these guys are going to get bigger when they go to college. But you like how patient he is. You like his hands. You like how he strikes when he makes contact.
Third down and 16. Jeremy Johnson looking for it all. His intended receiver, Tony Stevens, told us earlier his declaration. He's going to be playing at Texas A&M, one of 3 A&M receivers playing here today. So fourth down and 16.
Well, Rod, you played in about 30 Pro Bowls, so at this point in the game, is it just playmaker time now?
Playmaker time, but, you know, can your kicker make a long kick? But if he misses it, you give him a short field. I say go for it, just like they're going to do, and let one of these guys make a big play for you.
That would be a 51-yard field goal attempt. Instead, the East team going for it now on fourth down and 16. Got to get to the 18-yard line to keep this drive moving.
Down! Red one! Red one! Stay hit!
Jeremy Johnson has Quick open. Touchdown, Quick!
to quick. Took a long time to develop, but it worked out well because a nimble quarterback in Jeremy Johnson continued to move the pocket, continued to stay patient, and with A'Shawn Robinson, one of the top defensive linemen in the country, on his way to Texas, chasing him down, bearing down on that young quarterback, he delivered a calm pass with that strong arm into the end zone to James Quick.
And a great learning lesson for all the DBs on the west side. Stay deep, don't let the receiver get behind you. And on the backside, defensive back, he's going to say one thing: you got to get deep as the deepest.
Offense, let's go.
Jeremy Johnson going to play his college football at Auburn. James Quick at Louisville. A Tiger to a Cardinal for a touchdown that puts the East squad ahead. Nice job on 4th and 16 and number 17 behind the defense and into the end zone. Touchdown pass from Jeremy Johnson and the East team back on top. Get you back inside the Alamo Dome right after this. It has been quite a second half for James Quick. A lot of smiles on the sideline for reason. He announced to the nation he's going to play his college football at Louisville. And he just hauled in a touchdown pass from Jeremy Johnson on 4th and 16. A touchdown that put the East squad on top 13-8.
The East squad had to come back and answer. You know, the West team, they finally got their offense going, completed the two-point conversion, took the lead in a game where overall you would say the East team has controlled the action more so, but West team took the lead. You love the way that the East came back and responded though.
Jeremy Johnson, the quarterback for the East team, Mr. Football out of Montgomery, Alabama, in the state of Alabama. Has a real chance to also be Mr. Basketball. For number 2, Derrick Henry. Had a touchdown earlier today. Now he has a 2-point conversion. And the East team has a 7-point lead.
As Derrick Henry turns the corner, there's multiple defensive backs with an opportunity to put a hit on him. But when you've got a running back 6'3", 240, sometimes you turn it down.
One declaration left. That declaration belongs to a linebacker out of Plano, Texas, Mike Mitchell. Is he going to stay in Big 12 SEC country, or might he end up in the Big 10? Find out after this.
Hi, I'm Mike Mitchell, linebacker from Prestonwood in Plano, Texas. Stay tuned, because today I'll be making my college declaration live on NBC Sports.
Standing in your declaration on deck circle here inside the Alamo Dome, linebacker out of Plano, Texas, Mike Mitchell. In moments, going to let us know where he will play his college football. The first to kick, the East team. Little rush of offense started with a big return from the special teams. Then on 4th and 16, Jeremy Johnson, Jonathan Quick, and a 2-point run by Derrick Henry, and it's 15-8. This is Chris Hawkins. Return, this one from the West squad, Chris Hawkins, on his way to USC. As for that declaration, here's Lewis Johnson.
All right, thanks very much. This is the final declaration of the day, and a big one. Standing next to me is Mike Mitchell with his family. There's Mom Candy, Ken with a big smile on his face, as well as his coach, Chris Cunningham. So the big moment has arrived. You've had a big game here today. You mentioned you had the sack, but now you need to pick up a hat. And so where would you like to play your college football? We've got Oregon, Ohio State, and Texas A&M. Mike, this is the moment.
Well, first off, I want to thank God for making all this possible, because without him, I wouldn't be here right now. And thank my family and for all the encouragement over the years, and my head coach, Chris Cunningham. And I also want to thank all my friends in school and the Massimo family and the Coward family. And I want to thank the Texas Titan organization and one of my biggest fans, Coach Scott Pospical. And I'll be committing to The Ohio State.
The Ohio State University. So Urban Meyer picks up another big pick here, a big linebacker. Why Ohio State?
You know, Coach Urban, he's got a real good program going, 12-0. You know, it's Ohio State. It's a big program. They're going to do big things.
All right, congratulations. I see smiles on everybody's faces here, so it must be a good choice. Paul, back to you.
All right, Lewis, Mike, thank you very much. And he also mentioned to us yesterday that A&M signed 5 linebackers in this class, and Ohio State has yet to do so. So Mike will be a Buckeye. Quarterback here for the West squad with his team trailing is Hayden Reddick. Big smile there for the Ohio State bound Mike Mitchell.
Look at Michael.
West team got on the board a little bit early in the 4th quarter. Touchdown pass from Max Brown, the National Player of the Year. Going to play quarterback at USC. This is Hayden Reddick, who will be a quarterback at LSU in his college years. That was in the direction of Texas A&M recruit and wide receiver Ricky Seals-Jones. Incomplete, 25 seconds left.
And they're taking their shots down the field.
Marty Snyder, come on in.
Well, I have found the MVP of the day, and I'm not surprised. It is James Quick, the man who told us earlier he's going to go to Louisville. I have General Bob Cohn over there. Pete Dawkins, the great former Army man as well, and it's the Pete Dawkins Trophy, so he presents it. Pete.
I'll tell you what, I couldn't be more excited than to give it to somebody from Louisville. My grandson's going to Trinity High School, so I'm thrilled to death to be able to present this to one of the great football players of the future. A long line of people who have held this. Proud to give it to you.
Congratulations, James.
All right, thank you very much. And James Quick going to play at Louisville. Big touchdown here late in the 4th quarter. Hayden Reddick for the West squad tries to answer. Reddick to the end zone. Ricky Seals-Jones had a shot at it. DeMonte Thomas there on his way to Michigan. Also there, Kendall Fuller. According to Rivals, the top cornerback in the country who will play at Virginia Tech. Clock ticking down inside of 5 seconds, and the clock now at zeros, and it ends up with the East team leading or winning 15-8, 7-point victory by the East squad. So that was a look at 100 of the very best high school seniors this year at the 13th annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Getting a head start on what we will see inside the Alamo Dome here next year. 2014, these players have already committed to be a part of the 14th annual U.S. Army All-American Bowl. We'd like to thank everyone for being with us here in San Antonio inside the Alamo Dome, where the East squad rallied. Touchdown pass late from Jeremy Johnson to Jonathan Quick, who'll play his college football at Louisville. We also enjoyed the 6 declarations. We want to thank everybody for being a part of this here in San Antonio today. For Marty Snyder, Lewis Johnson, Mike Farrell, Rod Woodson, and Anthony Herron, I'm Paul Burmeister. Get ready for Wild Card Football on NBC.